Yeah, I still find it pretty astounding to think how a team that was practically rebuilt from scratch, completely under strength, a lot of inexperience on the team, and with a first-time coach who'd only been following AFL for a handful of years prior to that, went on to win a premiership, but not just a premiership, but win the first premiership of the club under the branding of the Giants. It's a pretty big accomplishment. What made me want to become a coach of this team wasn't exactly on my bucket list of things to do in life. It kind of just evolved, I think, just from being around the team. I was kind of the unofficial team photographer for a year or two prior to that, and then started involving myself around the training, especially with the fitness side of things. That was my background. I've got no background in ball sports, actually. I was a distance athlete, a race walker, which is about as far removed from AFL as you could possibly get. But I'd started really studying the game quite a lot in that year preceding coming on as a coach. And then when the previous coach informed me that he wasn't able to return, his daughter wasn't going to continue playing on, I just put my hand up. I thought, I've got something to offer here.
Was there any concerns you had with having your dad coach the team?
Well, I mean, I guess it's the same for anyone else that has a parent in a role like that. There's always going to be like, how's it going to go? It's just, it feels different, but once we kind of got into it, it was all right, and you were kind of one of us, so it felt all right.
Yeah, I pretty much just ignored you.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the first thing I did was I started doing the numbers with the players, contacting players that had played in that previous season, and it wasn't looking good. None of them really were looking to return. They'd moved on for various different reasons. There were 4 players that had pre-registered, and there was a couple of other players which I thought maybe we could get across the line, so I ended up calling a team meeting at Starbucks in Penrith.
So just for everyone else, we started at that. I called a team meeting. Which is kind of awkward. I went and called a team meeting at Starbucks. I was hoping 1 or 2 others would turn up to that, but it just didn't eventuate. So it was literally just McKenna, Alicia, and Michaela, along with myself and your mum, of course. So what was it, when I told you the state of the team? Because I remember one of you asked, I can't remember whether it was you or Michaela, one of you sort of popped up and said, "So Mick, where's the rest of the team?" And I was sort of, this is pretty much it, hey?
There was no one else.
Yeah.
What was your reaction?
And then you started saying that we would have like Sienna and stuff come up during throughout the year. And
I actually, at that point I didn't know, because I hadn't really met Stacey at that point. All I knew was it was literally just the 4 of you. What did you think when you heard about the state of the team that no one wanted to return?
It was weird.
And the reaction on their face was priceless. Both of them, their mouths just dropped open when they realised, okay, that was the state of the team. I'm like, yep, that's pretty much where it's at the moment.
And what do you think when you look back at that meeting and the state that the team was in, and then 10 months later we went on to win a premiership?
Yeah, well, it was a big jump. It went from not knowing if we'd even pull a team together to winning the premiership for the team and the club for the first time. It was a lot of hard work, but we pulled it off somehow.
It's just weird like that we could do that, like knowing that you had 4 players at the start and then towards the end you had a full team and won a premiership, like a grand final.
Hi everyone, it's Brent Daniels from the Giants. In 2020, we want you to come and make a big sound at Grey Gums Oval, home of the mighty Penrith Giants Junior Football Club.
So, in order to pull this team together, we end up doing a lot of work with the club. I was actually invited along also to under-14s team meeting by Kylie, Michaela and Alicia's mother, to meet Stacey and Phil, and they provided a lot of help pulling players in. The club came to the party and provided a lot of help with cheaper rego, and I actually worked with the club to help develop a video ad for the club, because I think that there was a few issues across all different age groups with trying to pull players in. It was sort of going through a little bit of a rebuilding phase, so I figured we'll try doing a video ad and put that on the Facebook page and promote the hell out of it.
Sienna and Alicia, remember doing that video ad?
Yes.
Yes. I have outtakes from that. I might include some of those outtakes in this video production.
No.
I think there was a scene where you actually swallowed a fly, Sienna. You remember that?
Hey.
Oh,
Yes.
I remember that now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I started choking in one of the takes. I did it like twice, I'm pretty sure.
5, 4, 3. I'm sorry, what?
It came to my nose.
5, 4.
Sorry.
There's some hailing flies.
We're the mighty Penrith Giants and we'll be the biggest and the best.
Come on, sell it. 5, 4, 3.
We're the mighty Penrith Giants and we'll be the biggest and the best.
Yes. 4, 3, 2, 5, 4, 3.
Join us today and never surrender because we're the greater than the rest.
And again.
Join us today and never surrender because we're the greater than the rest.
God, what's going on? The wheels have just fallen. 5, 4. You right there?
Yeah.
5, 4.
No.
You're nearly there. 5, 4. I can't count. What's 4 at the moment? 5, 4, 3.
Join us today and never surrender because we're greater than the rest.
And your last line, which will probably be your actual line.
So no dodgy 6 again clause in our game.
Yeah, that was obviously a play. That was a play on the grand final, the NRL grand final.
There's no dodgy 6 again calls in our game.
5, 4, 3. Can you say it with like a bit of a smart ass attitude? This is meant to be a bit of a dig. 5, 4, 3.
There's no dodgy 6 again calls in our game.
Hell yeah, we had a big attitude. Yeah, that's what we want. 5, 4. Right? 5.
These girls over here are going to kill you if you guys don't nail this.
5,
I want to get this done.
4, 3.
There's no dodgy 6 again calls in our game.
Oh, it was pretty slow going in the early days with the pre-season training. I think there's only like 5 players total at different training sessions.
Belle, what brought you into the team?
I always liked footy, and I felt like I needed a change from soccer, and I didn't want to go to a team where I didn't know anyone. So like I knew Sienna and that. And so I just said I'll go play with Giants just so I could play with someone I knew.
Phoebe, I think from memory, you replied to an ad that I posted on one of, I don't know, 20 odd community groups. Did you see it?
Yeah, that's correct. Because I was looking for an AFL team to join, and I didn't want to join my old team because that was a fair bit away as well. And then I saw your ad, so I was like, I decided to join your team, which was good because when I joined, there was only 6 of us.
Yeah, there was only a handful of players at some of those earlier sessions. But, you know, we kept on persisting. I think maybe with every week would get 1 or 2 more extra players here and there. And sit-ups.
Because I had every intention of wanting this to be like a balance of being fun and everything, but I wanted to try and train you like an elite playing group at the same time. But trying to get that balance right so it wasn't too serious.
And we got to, it was mid-March, March 18th, I think it was. I was on my way to training and I got a phone call and we got word that training had been cancelled indefinitely with the first Sydney lockdown due to COVID.
And then we just had to stop because like we were all just bonding with each other with all the new players and stuff. And then it got called off because of COVID.
Yes.
It was just annoying. Inconvenient, that's what it was. It was inconvenient.
It's very inconvenient.
Bad timing.
How dare COVID?
I was quite disappointed just because we were getting to know each other and our team, and it was our first very training session to see how unfit we really were, but to also get to know Mick as a coach and, you know, even with the 6 people we had.
At that point, that was some thoughts of, well, this isn't looking too good. You know, are we even going to get a season up and running at this point?
It sucked. Because, I was getting ready for, like, all the sports and then just lost doing nothing.
I was pretty like annoyed because it was like my first proper season, but then I was also like, there's not much you can do. So I was just lucky it wasn't a really long lockdown and we could get straight back into it afterwards.
I think from memory the case numbers went down with COVID, and then there was talk of the season resuming. It was going to be a shortened season.
We started back at 2nd of June with training with very strict conditions, I remember.
Oh yeah, having to sanitize everything.
I think
It was very, very strict at that point in time.
so. Yeah, and Liv came in after that lockdown. It's all a big blur to me. I actually can't remember your first training session when exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I can remember either.
Yeah.
We were down the bottom field, weren't we?
No, we trained at the top field last year.
Yeah, okay.
Was it the first one we were doing, like, when we had, like, the weights and stuff out?
Yeah,
Probably.
And I think I was at Liv's first one, but then I think I came to the second one that she was at, and I was like, I don't know, and I think, I don't even,
I think, the 14s did train with us every so often or whatever, especially if it was wet weather. We did a couple of wet weather sessions under the canteen or whatever.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, those were good.
Keep it turning over. Just keep doing something.
I remember announcing leadership positions for this team. I was going to have 4 leaders, and the 4 leaders were literally going to be the girls that had pre-registered, that had committed to returning to the team. We had Ariana as captain. She was kind of like a vice captain, I think, from memory, the previous year, but she operated as the captain for the majority of the year. I wanted her to have the captaincy outright for that season. We had my own daughter McKenna as backline leader, given that she's a defensive player.
It was a big thing for me. I haven't really been in too many leadership roles, and I've never been one to put myself in them, mainly because I don't really know what to do in those kind of situations. But once we played a few games and watching the others in other leadership roles, it felt a little bit better. And once I got to know my defence line as well, it made things easier because I could better communicate with them and get an understanding of what they needed from me.
Alicia and Michaela, one of them was going to be vice captain and one of them was going to be forward line leader, and I wasn't going to be the one to choose. Because I didn't want to have to...
You're picking forward line leader?
Sorry?
Michaela bribed me into picking forward line leader so she could be the co-captain.
I heard that. I did hear that from your mum.
That was insulting. It didn't really matter. I didn't really, I cared, but it wasn't a big deal. It was just... I was still going to be some sort of captain either way, so it didn't really matter.
And like I said to you guys, every position was as important as each other, but I also knew that technically one was a bit more senior, and I'm like, I don't want to choose between two sisters as to who's going to be the more senior.
One of us would have insulted you.
I'll let them fight it out. And then I heard, yes, Michaela had just basically conned you into it. But it ended up working out well because I thought Michaela, because it also determined what positions you played on the field. It meant that Michaela went to the wing in the forward line, and you went into the wing, and you went into the forward line, and I actually thought that was perfectly tasked in the end anyway. So it worked out in the end. It really, as you said, didn't really matter who had a more senior position.
Because all the captains that were in the leadership team, we all worked together for the team. Even the people that weren't captains, they all spoke up and helped out, and they all did their part. They were that helped out.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And that's what it's about.
So the season was fast approaching, and I think at the last cutoff we just got the minimum numbers. So coming into the season, we ended up having 13 core members. And only a handful of them had been experienced at playing AFL. The rest were, a lot of players were experienced in other ball sports, but most of them had no experience playing AFL, really. So it was going to be an interesting season, but I had a good feel. I had a good feeling about the team after seeing them train and seeing how they had adapted and some of the things that we were starting to work towards. And of course, even with the 13 core members, we had the offer from the 14 girls via Stacey and Phil to help fill in the gaps if we needed, if we came up against teams that were larger in size or more competitive. And that certainly helped us. So coming into July, we knew that the season had been drawn up. It was fast approaching, so we ended up putting together a couple of trial games versus the under 14 girls, just to get a little bit of match practice, especially given that we had a lot of new players who'd never played before. We had players in Olivia who'd come from soccer. We had players like Paige and Lauren who were coming from track and field. From memory, I don't think they'd played ball sports at all. We had Belle coming in, who I don't think from memory had played club level AFL before. So we need to sort of road test a lot of these new players up against the 14 girls just to see how they go, and they end up doing really well in those trial games. Actually, it was very surprising to see how quickly it came together.